this video, I'm going to be showing you how to design a website's landing page using Adobe Photoshop. Welcome back to the channel. My name is CJam, and here we are already in Adobe Photoshop, and what you're looking at right now is a mock-up of an iMac that we got from Envato Elements. Now, this video is sponsored by Envato Elements, and we'll talk a little bit more about them later on, but for now, let's go ahead and jump right into our website design. So the landing page that we're going to be designing today is for either, I can't decide, either an architecture company or an interior designing company, right? I have two awesome photos that I got from Envato Elements. You can see them on the screen right now, and we're just going to be plugging those photos into this mockup, and as we design and save our design, we'll see what our website would look like on an actual computer screen. So that's why we're using this mockup. So let's go ahead and look over here in our layers, and you'll see screen. Let me make this bigger. Let me make this thumbnail size bigger, right? You can see screen right here, right? This is a smart object, and if we were to double click on this, we'd get the controls that we need to edit the screen, right? Now let me show you what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to create a solid color here, and you'll see that I created an orange color, and let me move that all the way to the top, and then let me press Ctrl and S on my keyboard to save, and you'll see that the screen is now orange based on what we just did, right? So everything that we do inside this window here will be reflected on this iMac mockup when we save it, right? All we have to do is save our smart object, right? So what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be bringing in the photo that I'm going to be using, and then we'll go ahead and start designing. So here are my two photos, right? And I really like them. So I really like this interior one here, but I also love this photo of the home here, right? Let me go ahead and hit Ctrl and T for my transform options, and then let me just size it up. That is so nice. Let me do the same for the other one. Let me just size it up. Ctrl and T for my transform options. I am really liking this. And then if I hit Ctrl and S to save and go back to our mockup, you would see that the photo is being reflected here, right? And that is looking so cool already. So for our website, the elements that we're going to be designing on our website will be the company logo. We're going to be doing the navigation menu, if there is a menu, and like a heading on the website, you know, like welcome to our website, and we're going to name the company, right? As well as we can put on some Instagram and Facebook social handles, just general information that you'd find on a landing page, right? A landing page tends to be like just a one-pager with all the information you need. Maybe the website is under construction, or maybe that's just how that website is. It just has one page. So the first thing I'm going to be doing here is just creating a rectangle for my header where I'll have my menu and my logo. And to get that rectangle, what I'll be doing is hitting U on my keyboard and just clicking and dragging out a rectangle here. But before I do that, or before I go any further, let me turn it off, and then let me just go to View, Guides, and then New Guide Layout. That way I can have some kind of organization in how I place my elements, because that is also really important when you're designing a website, right? Let me add some more guides to the edges. I'm just clicking my ruler and dragging out some guides. My ruler is obviously right here. This is running horizontally and vertically, and if you're not seeing your ruler, all you have to do is hit Ctrl and R or Command R if you're on Mac to make that ruler visible, right? I'm just going to save everything that we're doing here, Ctrl and S. And then now I can put back the strip that I have, the rectangle here. Ctrl and T for my transform options. Let me just drag it up to the edge. Just make sure it's touching all the edges here. And then let me drag it up to meet, let me drag it up to meet this guide. I'm holding Shift while I did that, right? And let me change the color of this rectangle to white. I can double click on it here, or I can go over to fill on my properties tab. Let me double click on it, And let me just change the color to white. And what I can do now is I can add a logo, or I can add some text, right? You know, for the menu, when you go on a website and you see home, about, contact, etc., etc. All right, let me just go ahead and hit T for my type tool. And then let me just type some menu, some generic menu stuff. Let me type home. What did I say? About. And then contact. That's what I said, right? Or should I have like services? Yeah, services. All right. All right. Then I'm just gonna like reduce the size of this and change the color to black. I'm just clicking over here, or you can hit T and you'll see the tool options up here, color, size, etc. I'm working from my properties tab over here on the right. If you're not seeing your properties tab in your Photoshop, all you have to do is go up top to window and then properties, right? All right, so what I'm going to do next is make the text smaller, as I said, maybe 30. Let's see what we have. Yep, let's take it off bold. Let's put it on like medium, or maybe book, something really thin that's not too overbearing. Let's also align it left and put it right here. Then let me delete one of the spaces. All right, that's looking pretty cool, right? And what I'll probably do is I'm just gonna type a generic logo, or just type the name of the business. So this logo is literally just the name, right? The name. So let's call the company LSPV designers, or let's just do LS interior designers. And it got a little small there, right? Let me just move it up. I don't want the logo to be the same, but let me just do LS interiors. All right, and then let's make that bigger. Let's do about 60, right? Let's do, I mean, yeah, that's fine. I mean, for the purposes of this tutorial, I just want to show you guys the power that you have here. Let me align it left, and then let me, yeah, right there is good. And you see that pink line that's running through the center there? It's telling me that my text, the LS interiors, is aligned with this text here. I mean, the logo could even be smaller. It doesn't have to be this big. It's all up to you, right? If you're designing a website in Photoshop, it's all up to you and what the client requires. What I can even do is make this the menu, the nav menu, make it like gray and not like fully black, right? How cool is that? And let me just hit Ctrl and S to save. Then we can go to our mockup and see what we have. Ctrl and S, and then we'll just head over to our mockup and see the changes reflected there. How cool is that? So our landing page is coming together, and what I can do is I can also reduce the opacity of the white rectangle. That way it's not too strong, it's just there ever so slightly. So if I were to find the rectangle here, right, and then I can just lower the opacity here, or I could have just hit a number on my number pad on my keyboard. I can go like 3 for 30%, you know, I can go 7 for 70%, but obviously that would affect the text in front of it, so you also have to keep that in mind, right? Let's just stay at 90 for now, or 80 for now. All right, we're looking pretty good. Ctrl and S to save. Then let's go to our mockup and see what we have. That is looking pretty cool, and maybe I can increase the size of this photo. That way, ooh, I like that. That way, let me just delete this photo. That way I'm not getting confused and I'm not tempted to use it. But what I can do is increase the size of it. That way these lines up here are not visible, and all I'm seeing is just a blue area, right? So Ctrl and T for my transform options, and let me just like increase the size. But isn't it taking away from the interior, like the stairs and all of that, right? It is, right? Let's just keep it. Let's just keep it, because we want to showcase as much as possible on our interior designing website. And what I can do is I can put the same bar here, the same header bar, and I can duplicate it and drop it down the bottom and like name it footer, and I can also put like a contact form within that footer. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to group all of these here, selecting all of them, and hit Control and G, Command G if you're on Mac, and then let me double click on it and rename it header, right? So that's our landing page header. And for the photo, you know, well, let me delete this orange because I don't need it. Well, actually what I could do with orange is I can keep it and then like lower the opacity of the image as well, right? So if I were to hit like 7 for 70%, you'll see some of the orange is coming through there, and that's a common trend in website design with photos with low transparency or a lower intensity, and it has some color coming through, right? That way you can add like some of your brand colors. Say for example, my brand colors here, right here in my libraries, if I choose the blue, you see it's giving me some blue through the image, right? You get the picture, right? If I want the blue, this darker blue or the yellow, which one do you guys like? Let's stick with the, yeah, let's stick with the orange just because we can, even though the light blue looks really nice, right? Control and S to save all that we just did. And then let me actually hit some more text, T for my type tool, and then let me write, where's the text? Oh, it's underneath the photo. Let me bring that up. Let me make the text bigger. And when you're designing websites, especially in Photoshop for a client, you want to make sure that you're using consistent text sizes for like your headers, headings, body text. So like this navigation bar, the home, the services, about, that would be like body text, right? The title that I'm going to write here right now would be like a heading, right? So what I'm going to write is modern, what are we doing? Interior designs, modern designs for every home, right? Let's do that. Modern designs for every home. Let's make it bigger, about 72, and then let me adjust the what do you call it, the tracking, the leading, sorry, to auto. Let's see what I got. Let's align it left. Let's also make it much bigger. Let's do about 150 or 200. Well, 120 looks fine. What do you guys think? Let's change the weight from book to bold. Maybe we can reduce the leading some more. What do you guys think? Reduce the space between the text, right? We can definitely do that. And then let's align it here with the LS interiors. What do you guys think? Or should I put it in the middle? I can align the text to the center and then just drag it over into the middle, right? But if you'll notice here, it's not very visible. So what I can probably do is add like a drop shadow. So I can double click on the text here and I'll get my layer styles and I can look for drop shadow and then just add like a drop shadow. See that outline? See that? This is the after, before, after, right? And then I can just like increase, no, not the distance, I can increase the size and lower the opacity, right? That's one technique to make like text more visible against the background. What do you guys think? You can also you can do it much more intensely than that. I'm just like showing you what you're able to do. You can also decrease the intensity of the photo. Remember, it's at 70% like we did earlier. Now we can put it to like 50%, right? So you have a lot of control here. Let me see the blue. If I change to the darker blue, it's actually looking much better there. The orange is even looking good. The darker blue is looking really nice. I really like the darker blue. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I think I may keep the lighter blue. All right, let's see what we have so far. Control and S to save. And that is looking really good. See that? That is so nice. I mean, obviously you have the power to design with whatever colors you want, obviously, right? I'm just showing you the basic techniques here. And let me actually make the text black, as in the weight black, like make it heavier, right? What I can do is also like reduce the leading some more And what I can do here is just create a button. You know, when you go on websites and you see a button that says subscribe to newsletter or book now or send a message, something like that. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to create a button here that says request a quote or get something like that, you know, something like that. So let me go ahead and hit T for my type tool. And let me just type a consultation, like book a consultation. Yeah, let's do that. Not cook, book. Book consultation, right? So we're looking good. Let's change the weight to medium because we're keeping consistency, and let's use the same weight and size as the navigation text up here. So let me go back to my header group, click on the navigation text and see what the weight is. So the weight is book, as I guessed, and the size is 30, right? So let me find the book consultation. Let's make it 30. And it's already book. And what I'm going to be doing now is creating a shape. Normally when you see buttons, the buttons have shapes. It could be a rectangle, it could be a rounded rectangle, you know, where the edges curve, or it could be a circle if that's the kind of look you're going for. But what I'm going to be doing to create that button, that background, is hitting U for my shape tool and then just drawing out a rectangle that's around the same size as the button, right? Let me put around the same size as the text. And then let me put the text in front of it here. And then let me select both of them, hit V for my move tool, then go up to my tool options to align them. Let me change the fill of the rectangle to white. I can double click on it, or I can go here to fill. Under appearance, let's change the color of that to white. And then let me change the color of the text so to like a gray, right? Then let me select the rectangle, go over to my properties tab, or I can press U on my rectangle and you'll see these little circles here, these dots. It's telling you that you can pull the edges in and just like round it up like that, right? How cool is that? Control and the semicolon to hide my guides. Then let me actually select both the book consultation on the rectangle, and well, let me make the rectangle a bit wider. So let me Control and T, hold Alt and Shift and click and drag on the one side, either the left or the right, and it's going to increase the size evenly, right? Now I can group them here in my layers. Select both of them, hit Control and G, Command G if you're on Mac, and then I'm going to rename the group button, right? Or book consultation button, right? Now we can save it, Control and S to save. Then I can align this. I can bring back up my guides with Control and semicolon, and then I can make sure this button is aligned to the center, right? See that? It's aligned to the center guide, and then I can just bring it up, right beneath the modern designs for every home, right? Now we're looking real good. We are definitely looking real good. Let me just see what size this image is. Oh, I can actually move this up, right? All right, let's Control and S to save and see what we have. That is looking real good. And you see the drop shadow that I added to the modern designs. So it's like floating, so it's like separated from the background. I can add that same drop shadow to the book consultation button. All I have to do is find it here in my layers, see the effects. I can hold Alt, click on the effects and just drag it onto the button, and now both of them have the same effect. See that? Look at the button. Before, after, before, after, just to give it some separation, right? That's a cool design pro tip for you guys, right? Now we can hit Control and S to save. Then we can go back to our main display and see what we have. And here's an option that you can do when designing websites as well. For the header, you can not have a background, right? And then you can just have the photo as a background, and that's a cleaner, more modern style as well. But what you have to do is you'd have to make sure that whatever background you're using, the text isn't hidden in the background. So like for my nav menu up here, what I'd have to do is I'd have to make sure this is white, right? Make sure it's visible. So it's either black or white, right? I can make this white as well, the LS interiors, right? And what I'd probably have to do then is add the same drop shadow. That way it's not like blending in with the background. So remember, hold Alt, click on the effect that you want to copy, and drag it onto an element that you want to copy it to. And for me, I just copied it to the logo and the nav menu up top here. And what I can do is I can even move the image up, because let me hide the guides here, control and semicolon. If I were to hit control and T for my transform options on my image, you'll see that I have some room on the bottom and the top of my image. So what I can do is I can hit V for my move tool, or I can just move the image up by holding shift and the up arrows. See that I still have some wiggle room to work with, right? And now you'll see that you'll notice that the background is almost completely blue up top, and my menu is actually showing more visibly, right? What I can do is I can probably turn down the drop shadow intensity of the nav menu. Let me double click on drop shadow and I'll get the pop-up box, and let me just lower the spread to about 6. That's fine. I don't want it to be as dominant and as obvious as this, right? Can do the same for the logo. Let's lower the spread to like 6. Press OK, Control and S to save all that we did so far. So we have our header group, we had our consultation button form. Let's take the modern designs and the consultation button and put that in a group, Control and G, and let's name that group title, right? Now we're looking good. Let's take the background and the blue, and let's actually name that, let's actually put that in a group and name it background. So Control and G to group, let's name it background, right? Looking good so far. Let's turn these off. These are what came with the mockup by default. We don't need them anymore, so we can keep them off. Control and S to save all that we just did. All right, so now we're looking pretty good. Now this is really coming together, right? Let me make the LS interiors all caps. You guys know I love all caps and I can't help myself. Yeah, so let's make that all caps. I really like how that is looking in all caps. Let me size it down. Let's do 40, and then let me just check the alignment. Yeah, that looks good. All right, cool. Let me just see the background one more time, the background color. The red is nice. The dark blue is looking much nicer now without the white header background. Yeah, let's keep the dark blue. All right, Control and semicolon to hide my guides again, and then Control and S to save all that we just did. Now let's go ahead. Should I make? No, it's fine. Let's go ahead and wait. Let me move this up. The title, it should be in the center. Control and semicolon to turn on my guides. It should be in the center of the page. My apologies. I am so sorry. All right. And if you're designing, you can either make this centered, you can make it left aligned. You know, you'd move the button over to the left like so. You can do the opposite and make it right side aligned. You can move the button over to the right side. Oops, you can move the button over to the right. I'm sorry. This is not where it should be. You can move it over here, right? But you notice I'm using the inside guideline, so none of my designs is passing this line here, right? So I have wiggle room here just to keep some uniformity, right? So we can do it left aligned over here, centered, or right aligned like so. But let me just undo that, Control and S to save. And a cool tip is if you're submitting designs for a website, what you can do is create 3 versions of the design. So far for our landing page, what I could do is save this design with the title here in the middle, you know, over here on the left or the right, like I just showed you. I can do a version with the navigation menu over on the left, the logo on the right, or the navigation menu in the center. It's up to you. Variety is always a bonus when you're delivering proposals to a client or submitting versions of a design to a client. Clients love variety, right? So variety is the spice of life. That's the saying, right? So let's go ahead and continue. And earlier I mentioned that I wanted to add some Instagram and Facebook logo here, and I'm gonna do that. Let's go ahead and hit Control and S to save, right? Then let's go ahead and see what we got, and this is looking So cool. I love this mockup from Envato Elements. Love it, love it, love it, right? Control and S to save. Now I'm gonna go ahead and drag in the Instagram logo, the Facebook logo, and just like add a little footer right there, right? So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so here are my two logos in my folder. I'm just gonna drag them in and place them. Let me zoom in. I'm gonna place them like right at the bottom here, right? Let me see, the Instagram one is way too big. Control and T, size it down to match the Facebook one right there, right? And then let me turn the Instagram one white like the Facebook one. Let me see. Yeah, let me double click on the Instagram one, and then let me go to color overlay, and then let me change that to white. Now I have two logos that are similar. Let me move the Facebook one over to the yeah, then let me size it down. Control and T, I selected both of them in my layers, then hit Control and T for my transform options, and I'm just sizing it down right here. Maybe some more, right? And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to ensure that the handle, the social media handle that I'm using, is this too big? Do these logos look too big? What do you guys think? I think they look too big. Let's go back and size them down. Control and T. Size it down some more. About there. Let's make it touch the guide because everything is aligned, right? Everything should be aligned. Then I can type some text. Remember, the default body text is medium. Is it medium or book? I think it was book, right? I think it's book. This, what's this? Oh, it's medium. 30 pixels medium. All right, let's do that. All right, so let's do book 30. Let's change the color to white. Change the size to 30. Book, let's turn off all caps, and then let's write at, what's the name of this? LS Interiors. Yeah, at LS Interiors, right? Wait, that's not right. Interiors. Then let's just drag this down. That pink line is telling me that it's aligned to the center, that horizontal pink line, right? All right, this is looking good. This is looking good. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add like a little subscribe here. Like subscribe to a newsletter, subscribe to get updated on new developments, like new, I don't know, new, just subscribe to find out what's going on with LS Interiors. That's usually a feature that you see on websites as well. So let's go ahead and do that. What I'm going to be doing is just grouping all of this, but before I do that, let me duplicate the LS Interiors here. Wait, no, I have a different idea. Let me go ahead and group it, select all of them, Control and G to group. Let's name it social handle, right? That's cool, right? Here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to duplicate the book consultation, and I'm going to use the same style, Control and J to duplicate it, take that out of the title group, and I'm going to move it down here, right? See, that pink line is telling me that it's aligned with the LS Interiors. Then let me move it over to the edge of the guide right there. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to duplicate the book consultation text, Control and J, move it outside, move one of them outside, right? Let me turn off the effects off of this group. All right, let's change that to white. Let's name it sign up for newsletter or newsletter. All right, that's looking good. Let me see what I got here. All right, cool. Sign up for a newsletter, or let's just do newsletter sign up. Let's do as little text as possible. Like, I don't want to have too many words. Newsletter sign up. And you see that this is telling me that there's 19 pixels here in between this button and this element. Between these right here, there's 19 pixels between the LS interiors and the Facebook logo. Let me show you. LS interior, if I were to click on that and then click on both of them, you'll see LS interiors. See, there's 19 pixels in between them, but I think it just increased to 21 to match this over here, because I believe this is now 21 pixels. When I was moving it, I believe it got increased, right? Yeah, 23. I just moved it over with my directional key on my keyboard. What I'm going to be doing is renaming the group book consultation button, copy, because the group is now newsletter, right? Newsletter sign up. All right, cool. Control and S to save all that we just did. Now what I'm going to be doing is changing this text inside here to enter email, right? Or email address, right? Enter email address, right? And let's make that, should I make it smaller or should I keep it as is? It's fine. And then let me just reduce the opacity of that enter email address. I don't want it to be as like dominant as the newsletter sign up. Let's also make it, should I make it smaller? It's fine. All right. Let me see what we have here. This is looking really good. Control and S to save. And we have how many elements so far? We have header, social handle, newsletter. The social handle and the newsletter I should probably put in a group and call it footer, right? So I selected both of them, Control and G to group, and let's rename the group footer. So we have header, footer, title, and the background. How cool is that? Let me delete these two text from the mockups. Control and S to save. Now we can go on the mockup and see what we have. How cool is that? This is looking pretty cool. Pretty cool if you ask me. What do you guys think? This is looking real nice. Here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go back down to the enter email address box, and I wanted to add a little effect, you know, to give it the impression that, to give it the illusion that, you know, it's, the box is something with depth. So what I'm going to be doing is going to the newsletter sign up, the rectangle here, right? So I'm double clicking on it, and then I'm going to bevel and emboss, and then I'm just adding, so you can change the depth here and the size and all that. But what I just want it ever so slightly on the outer edge to show that you can enter something in that box. That's usually an effect that you see on websites. I don't want it to be too soft. Maybe like there, right? Size, I don't want it too big either. Maybe there, depth. Just to show that this box, you know, you can enter something into this box. About there is cool. What do you guys think? That's looking pretty better to me. Maybe I can like, let me just adjust it some more. Let me turn down the depth. Yeah, because I just want it ever so slightly, right? Yeah, that's looking cool. Control and S to save. Now let's go back and see what we came up with. That is looking pretty cool if you ask me. What do you guys think? This mockup is also pretty awesome, and we could not have made this website design without this mockup that we got from Envato Elements. Envato Elements is my go-to place for graphic templates such as this iMac mockup, as well as other awesome clean product mockups. And if you want to try Envato Elements free for 7 days, go ahead and hit that first link in this video's description, and when you fall in love with it, you can get 70% off your first month's subscription from them as well by using the second link in this video description. I've been using Envato Elements for years now. I've always been talking about them, and I use them every single day in creating these YouTube videos as you just saw here. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the link to this exact mockup that I used today in this tutorial in the video description as well. That way you guys can download it and design with me. And remember, this is just one aspect of a website. Every website should be desktop friendly primarily, as well as mobile friendly, because you know we're always walking around with our phones, right? And if you want to see how to design a mobile friendly website in Photoshop as well, click right at the screen right here to watch that video. Or if you're just getting started in Photoshop and you want a beginner crash course in how to use Photoshop, click right at the screen to watch that video as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.